Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And let's get started with today's news. So I'm still catching up from last week's news. So we're talking first about Slash's interview he did with Sirius XM. He talked to DJ Jose Mangin, and I've got the whole interview up on my channel if you guys to go check out. And he talked a bit about Axl Rose and Duff McKagan in terms of their thoughts on new Guns N' Roses music. So Slash said everybody's asking regarding Guns N' Roses new music. He said we haven't really focused on really, we haven't, sat down and said, okay, we're going to work on a new record. But at the same time, I know it's something that I want to be optimistic about. I think Slash would like to do it. I want to do it. Duff McKagan wants to do it. Axl's got a ton of material. I've got some material. So we just have to sort of hunker down and go, okay, we're going to do this, and that hasn't happened yet. But I feel pretty positive that it'll happen at some point. In a separate interview, Slash talked about why he wanted to go rejoin Myles Kennedy, the Conspirators, after playing with Guns N' Roses after almost 20 years. He said, I've been working with Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators since 2010, so up until recently, everything I was writing was earmarked for that. But then joining up with Guns N' Roses in 2016, that's a whole new thing for 20 years at least. So I didn't do anything Conspirators for a year and a half. Everything was focused on Guns N' Roses. Then we took a sizable break in December of last year. Come January, I got back with the Conspirators and started revisiting some of the music that we wrote during the World on Fire tour, and also music that I wrote on the spot in January and February. So then we completely focused on the Conspirators. Come May, the album was mixed and mastered, and I went straight back to rehearsal for Guns N' Roses. So you just shut down one to do the other, and vice versa. So we also had an interview with Gilby Clarke, who revealed something odd about Slash when it came to his time in Guns N' Roses. Now, you guys also know Gilby Clarke from his superstardom on the show Rockstar Supernova. So he talked about how during the Use Your Illusion tour, a lot of times you couldn't really tell who was playing what guitar part. So here's what he had to say during the interview. He said, when I switched to... So Gilby Clarke told LA Weekly that Slash and I seemed to play well together, said Clarke, who joined Guns N' Roses in time for the Use Your Illusion tour. The only thing I found odd is that we were both Les Paul Marshall guys. Sometimes when we would hit the big money chord on stage, I couldn't tell who did it. When I switched to Vox AC 30 amps, I think that helped me define my sound within the band. We carried that out on the Snake Pit and my solo record during following the GNR tour. Years later in the YouTube era, I found our Wild Horses solo bit from Live in Tokyo videos. I think that says it all of how we played together. I don't remember even rehearsing that. I'm pretty sure we went out one night and just jammed it. We also got some Duff punk rock McKagan news as well. So he actually played a show with Loaded in Seattle this past week. So he played a quick show that was played at Slim's Last Chance. So there is some video footage of the gig that I've put up on the article below. Also, Duff tweeted out a cool lithograph of the show that I've also included in the web link. So they played about 16 or 15 songs. No Guns N' Roses songs were played. It was all played from Duff's band Loaded, and he also played one ZZ Top cover called Got Me Under Pressure, so that kind of closed out the set. But sadly, there was no So Fine or Dust and Bones that was played, but if you guys can go check out the footage in the link below. So back to some Slash news. So Slash had a pretty funny story about the Whisky A Go-Go back in the day before Guns N' Roses hit it big. So he talked about how back in the day he used to be a roadie at the Whisky. So he said it was like 1984 or something like that. I would just hump gear for whatever band was coming in at the time. I remember that what sticks out to me is that there was a performance artist named Joanna Wendt who did a gig at the Whisky A Go-Go. Now when I say performance artist, you sort of imagine people that do this whole sort of like eclectic show where they bring a lot of props and do a lot of crazy stuff on stage. Hers was like pig's blood and body parts and all that crazy stuff. So we had to clean up that stuff after the show. I can't find the word to describe how the left of center that gig was. It was definitely a mess. Then I remember the Whisky A Go-Go shut down for a long time. It was actually closed for most of 85. I think so. Guns N' Roses didn't play there until 86. I remember that the first Whisky A Go-Go gig was the first night I ever wore a top hat. I went to the store that Tame Down from Faster Pussycat used to work at, and I went in there and stole a top hat because I was looking for something to wear for the show. I got the top hat and stole a Contra belt. I think he meant Contra belt because I didn't have any money. I went to the apartment that Axl Rose and I were squatting at because we were hiding from the cops. We were staying at former manager Vicky Hamilton's apartment, and I cut the belt, put it around the hat, and we were playing the Whisky A Go-Go that night. I remember that was sort of our premiere gig of the whole top hat thing. It got stolen like 2 days later at the Cat House. I was passed out in a booth and I woke up and my hat was gone. We've also got some other Slash news. So on the on the Living the Dream tour, Slash has announced one of the openers that's going to be opening from in Houston. That show is scheduled on September 26th, 2018. So Jibe Band will be opening for Slash. If you guys haven't heard of them, I included probably their most popular song called Yesterday's Gone in the article below. And finally, for today's news video, we had a response that Drew Carey put out to a question that Appetite for Distortion asked. So this is a photo of Drew Carey, Slash, and they also had Joey Ramone on Drew Carey Show back in 1998. So they had done an episode where the main characters were looking at starting a band, and they auditioned all these different guitar players, and there was a bunch of them, like Dave Mustaine, Slash. They had one of the guys from ZZ Top on, and you guys can see the clip. I've included in the link below, and he basically just responded that they had these guys on, and that's why he was taking the photo with them. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the links below if you want more information on the stories we covered. Be sure to visit GNRCentral.com for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news, and be sure to go support us on Patreon if you want us to see us make great content just like this, and if you want to get some cool perks and behind-the-scenes looks that our regular subscribers don't get. Take care.
What's going on? It's Alex Graspop from Hookers and Blow, and you're watching GNR Central.
Right on.